Hello, everybody. Happy to, and can everyone see me? Oh, there we go. Fantastic. Happy to host everyone for today's monthly webinar. My name is Julian. I am an account executive here at Mission Control and happy to get this started. Right before this call, when everything just shuts down at once and everything starts freezing, that's what just happened to me. But I have everything open in front of me and excited to walk through mission control together. So, with that being said, let me share my screen and let's jump into things. First starting off with a quick deck, because I like to contextualize a lot of things that we'll be seeing today and making sure everything makes sense when we jump into the system. So, here we go. Um, Also, if anybody has any questions, thoughts, ideas throughout today's discussion, feel free to notify it within the chat. I'll try to keep an eye out open for them, and basically maybe answer them directly on the call. If I don't get a chance to answer directly on the call, I will take note and we'll be able to reach out directly with everyone after I complete the webinar. So. Let me share my screen over here. Um, so in terms of kicking things off, quick introductions. As I said earlier, my name is Julian. I'm an account executive here at Mission Control. I cover the Eastern time zone in North America and all of Europe. Um, there's also a couple of other account executives on our team. We have Josh Barron, who manages APAC, along with Mountain Time and Pacific Time. And we have Lexi, who's been with the firm for some time now on the service side of things. But she focuses mainly on Central Time Zone. Like a few other faces that might be familiar or might be helpful in some conversations that you might have with our team. We have Corey Kleinbauer, who is our CRO. He has a depth of history and background within the Salesforce ecosystem, and he really helps kind of, let's say, share value within opportunities and helps relate value to the idea moving forward together. And also we have Colin Johnson, who is our founder and CEO. He's been in the ecosystem for some time now, based in Australia. And there's also Victor Pedroni, who is our service leader, based in the Greater Chicago area. He typically helps prospects, clients, customers get acquainted with Mission Control and builds out that perfect future state solution. So, before jumping into things, kind of starting off with the high levels of why Mission Control, why are we a leader within mid-market SMB space within Salesforce App Exchange for PM PSA solutions? First and foremost, we are 100% native to Salesforce, meaning you'll never need to sign into Mission Control. By signing into Salesforce, you have access to all of our objects and features, and and the core benefits to using Salesforce are mirrored within, let's say, using Mission Control. So think of us as like a layer of project management that lives in your environment. Everything works out of the box. We are a fairly robust solution. We have three major releases a year. The idea is, and we're also fairly modular as well. So if there's bits and pieces that don't make sense for you, phase one, keep in mind, you could just easily hide them and focus on what's important for phase one and really kind of grow with our solution over time. Quick and easy implementation. What that speaks to is basic, as we are a managed package on the App Exchange, we are as out of the box as out of the box gets within PSAs. If you click Get It Now on the App Exchange, it is our full package. We don't guardrail it. We want you to download it into Sandbox, download it into Productions, get your hands dirty. And the idea is we do have a lot of the collateral and information that will help you get up and running in no time. So we have just under 700 knowledge base articles. We have two monthly webinars, one on the success side, one on the sales side. We have our own proprietary learning portal, so which is cool to see. So it's not nothing to do with Trailhead. We have our own learning portal, which users or prospects, there's no cost to this. You could become admin, admin certified within mission control or even PM certified, or we do have a slew of other personas that you could train on. And if that's not enough, we do have global support. So look, I'm personally based in Canada, Eastern time. Uh, Most of my success team is in the US, although we do have a team in Australia as well. So as close as possible to 24-hour support, we do have. In terms of features and functionalities, and first, even in terms of today's discussion, I'm going to be going through a little bit of a narrative, going from doing a quick fundamentals, talking about kind of let's say what exists at the role record, then jumping into an opportunity, launching a project from an opportunity, from an automation, talking about the multiple ways we could do that, then going into a project and really kind of showing you into core features of mission control. And then going into the resource staffing side, logging time, customer collaboration, and even going above a project, looking at program and portfolio management. That should maybe take us around 35 to 40 minutes. There's a lot more. I could just start feature dumping all day. I think that wouldn't that would be a benefit to no one. If there's anything that really jumps out at you here, if there's anything that you want to learn a little bit more about, we do have video content online. Feel free to email me directly, julian.ricciardi@aprika.com, or reach out on our website. We're more than happy to connect and tailor some personalized demos specific to your requirements and also more specific to what you're looking for. Quick history on Mission Control. Look, we've been on the App Exchange for just over 14 years. Our CTO and our CEO are the actual founders. No part of our solution has ever been acquired, meaning there's a lot of continuity within our system. It truly is one solution. So let's say if interacting with a Gantt chart, interacting with a Kanban board, it's one. You don't have to duplicate efforts. I think the whole idea about using a PSA is basically automate your efforts, and then you can kind of look forward into how kind of say a future state automation. So a lot of like basically repeating removing those manual efforts and kind of trying to remove a lot of those duplicate efforts is what you'll see in kind of let's say our system. And look, we are the first user of Mission Control, so we use this to run our full business. Our service team uses this. I use this in terms of just maintaining my day-to-day lead follow-up. We also use it for like cost of goods sold, account management, customer success, customer support above and beyond, let's say the business like the kind of say the outward business operations, we use this for let's say onboarding employees, offboarding employees, control processes. We're more than happy to share how we use it, or maybe how companies like yourself might use it as well. We do work with a slew of industry leaders. More than happy to share some case studies. We do have amazing case studies on our website. And yeah. So, in terms of like what we'll be seeing today, this is a very general demo. Obviously, I think there's a lot of points here that do resonate with a lot of our customers and prospects. I'd like to let you know that in terms of what that might look like in terms of a sales cycle. Let's say our first interaction, what we typically like to do is just kind of get to know if there is a fit. Once we understand if there is a fit, that's when we really will jump into discovery, better understand your requirements, what you're looking for, your objectives, to be able to build out a personalized demo for individuals, groups, and teams within your organization. At which point we're more than happy to kind of say be creative in terms of what is the process to go from, let's say, learning to training, and how do we get to that conversion point? We're very flexible. Please reach out to us at any point in time. We're more than happy to figure out the right path for you, and in terms of how to best get acquainted with Mission Control and start automating your processes better. So now that everyone could see my screen, and I just want to see this further more. Oh, bye. There we go. 1 second. I think I've lost my Zoom. There it is. Perfect. Awesome. So this is Mission Control. It might look familiar because it is actually Salesforce. There's no separation between Mission Control and Salesforce as we are one of the same. Like luckily for us, Salesforce does not have Professional Service Cloud. So that's exactly the void we fill. Kind of, let's say, in between um, sales, opportunity, delivery, invoicing, billing. There's that beautiful little sense in the middle where basically you actually have to deliver your projects, and this is what we cover. And we seamlessly interact with all these Salesforce objects. Like you see on the top row over here, we have home, accounts, contacts, opportunities, leads. And then you start to see some mission control objects like projects, timesheet, scheduler, Gantt chart, meeting manager, and all this fun stuff down here. Now, the idea is not everyone needs access to everything here, and even within an organization. Some organizations, not everything is relevant, where it's rather easy to really kind of tailor the system for individuals, groups, and teams, and an organization as a whole. So let's say in terms of let's say if you're thinking, if what would the layout be for an individual contributor? It would be something a little bit closer to this, where you just focus on, let's say, projects, actions, dashboards, whiteboard, and Gantt charts, really giving them a much more focused view. Let me just take a little sip. So, in terms of this focused view, let's jump into a quick fundamentals before I go into the fun meat and potatoes of the project side, which will make a lot of things make more sense later down the road. So, jumping into my role record. What is a role? A role is an individual who is assigned to projects. It's essentially a resource. Um, I want to go a little bit deeper on this. Your resources could be like human. They could also be, let's say, like objects, like rooms. They could be assets. But typically, they are, let's say, just for the purpose of today's conversation, they are humans who have emotions, have feelings, but also have a lot of data behind them as well. So I'm going to go into my own role record here, and you'll see that I'm a project manager, and I also have a calendar. So I work 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, which rolls up to 40 hours. I have a target of 80%. Now, this is important because different views will at different views you'll see I might be in there's like heat map type pages where I might be in the green, I might be in the red, I might be in the yellow. That is all based on my own target. So let's say if you do have a resource who is working, let's say to 20 hours a week and you want their target to be 100%, their green, their red, their yellow will be very different than my own. I have my own cost rate. I have my own bill rate. Now, this is my own personal one. It helps me. This is helps for later on the road in terms of, let's say, costing or a better understanding like total P&L. But in terms of actual at the project level, you could use rate cards. You could use blended rates. You could do role-based costing or role-based billing, or let's say a skill-based. There's multiple ways we're able to do it. We're able to kind of say build out, let's say your financials. But this is just kind of say a baseline for every resource would have. Now, going into there's a slew of notifications, permissions that can be set up directly within the role record. And also there's a whole bunch of tabs that can be added or removed directly within Mission Control. So let's say going into a project, not everyone might need to have access to, let's say, financials, expenses, or Kanban boards, whatever it is. So you could easily add and remove them directly from the role record level. So I had a demo yesterday and I removed a bunch of them because I was trying to make a point. So let me add a bunch of these back here for today's discussion because I do think a lot of these might be important. Gantt chart, RevRec for sure. Let's add budget, sure. Overview. Yes, yes. Yes, let's add some of these. Okay. Um, and there are some other views. There's some also other reporting that could be added and removed directly from the role record. Um, Perfect. I think this should suffice for today's conversation. So along with, let's say, the customizations and let's say configuration that can be done directly within the role record, um, what we could also do are I think what's even more important here are the related records. You can see everything I'm working on in terms of roles, forecast, projects, milestones, all this fun stuff. But more importantly, you can see that I have been assigned some skills, which could also be certifications, and I'm also assigned to different teams. So even for skills, it could be language, it could be let's say a certain type of code, or there are no limitations. You could have a lot of fun with this. And then what we are able to do is add proficiency and also enjoyment factor. What this allows for is to, let's say, further qualify skills when you are looking to staff a role or just looking to kind of, let's say, look at your bench. So let's say if I'm trying to see, hey, I'm looking for, we have a project, we need someone um, who speaks French and is also, let's say, part of a different team. So we have multiple teams over here. So like everyone has one master team, and you can be part of multiple teams. So you could be, let's say, part of a geographic region. It could be level of seniority. So this helps, let's say, well, like I said earlier, when you're staffing individual roles on a project. Or when you're looking at your bench and you're like, hey, look, I need to know 6 months from now, do we have enough French-speaking resources to be able to deliver what we need to deliver? So these are very helpful to kind of say filter through your bench. Now, there's a question. A question is also kind of usually comes up in terms of um, who has access to this. Basically, the same level of permissions you're able to create within Salesforce, you were able to mirror within Mission Control. If this information is something you only want your admin to have access to, or certain individuals, which is fine. Let's say let's say myself, I might not have access to my own role record, or you might want to give access to your team because you might be a leaner organization and you want your team to kind of create your own skills and add yourself to teams when needed. So it's very flexible there. And also, lastly, and I think what I really want to show you into here is holidays. The reason why we're even speaking into holidays right now is basically because capacity and holidays are intimately connected. Um, so, and then there's often a question kind of how if we do use an external, uh, I guess, HR system, or that is our source of truth for holiday, how do we kind of let that interact with mission control? So, as we are 100% native to Salesforce, we are able to leverage the Salesforce API when needed to push and pull records into other systems. So, as you would, let's say hypothetically you work with Workday, there is either middleware or an existing API that you would leverage to, let's say, push or pull holidays and have it live on your, let's say, your calendar within Mission Control. So, with that being said, um, going back into going back into, let's say, the meat and potatoes here, let's create a project. So there are multiple ways for us to create a project in Mission Control. Not everything. So I'm gonna be showing you into creating a project from an automation and showing you that, let's say, that connection between opportunities and projects. But not everything needs to be kind of created, linked, automated. You can just go in and create an ad hoc project on the go. You could, let's say, just create a new project. You are also able to create projects based on existing projects, so cloning projects, leveraging templates. Now, there's the question is, what is a template? How do you create a template? There's no back end magic in here in terms of creating templates. A template is any project you create. So projects are super easy to create. Any project that you create, if you go into the edit field and click the template box, that project is now part of a template bank, and you are able to kind of leverage it at where and when you need to. So going into an opportunity right now. Let's create a new opportunity over here. This is a standard Salesforce opportunity. I'm gonna go into regarding, let's just do December 17th webinar. Next step, no, don't need that. Stage prospecting, close date, let's just do today. So creating an opportunity here. This is a standard Salesforce opportunity, nothing really special there. Um, But in terms of every business has their own layouts. Every business has their own opportunity statuses. You probably have your own fields, maybe some validation rules. But where this gets interesting in terms of mission control was on the right-hand side, where we see, let's say, some mission control objects like forecasts, projects, project requests, change requests. Now, in terms of how do we go from opportunity to project? There's multiple ways around this. It really depends on what's best for your business. It's not binary one or the other. You can really define what's kind of the best process for groups or teams within your organization. So something we see a lot is basically if you are able to let's say add either CPQ products or Salesforce products to an opportunity, and then basically attach templates to those individual products. So with that, with the kind of what you'd be able to do there by adding multiple products to an opportunity, you'd be able to, let's say, build a modular project. Now, if you were telling me, hey, Julian, I much prefer if all four of those products are separate projects, that's fine as well. It's just kind of just how we set it up. Or you could be even a little bit more straightforward with this, and even the kind of what I'll be doing today. You are able to, let's say, go in, just grab a specific template and be like, hey, look, this opportunity is going to be this template. I want my generation method to be based on opportunity status. Look, we do have multiple opportunity generation methods. I could spend hours just kind of talking about those. And let's generate the project. Well, when I say let's generate the project, it's ready to generate. What's going to be the catalyst for the project creation is one of these opportunity statuses. In this environment, the status that I've selected to generate the project is closed won. It doesn't necessarily need to be closed won. It could be, let's say, the quick price quote or whatever it is. Any one of these probabilities, percentage, because basically any one of these statuses are related to a percentage, and you are able to generate the project from a specific status change. So what I'm going to do is just go in and say click close one and generate that project. So our template could have as much information or as little information as you need. What I'm be showing you today is a little bit more of a granular work breakdown, talking into, let's say, following a critical path with, let's say, full hierarchy with different dependencies and actions assigned to individual actions assigned to placeholders. I'll switch them out for named users. Projects don't necessarily need to be as granular. If you might be like, hey, I just need a developer for 50% of their time in the next 2 weeks or 10 hours in the next 2 days, you could just kind of projects could be just flatlined. And you're also able to generate forecasts before an opportunity is close one and a project is created by leveraging our role forecast object, where because this plays into our resource planner, where you're able to understand, let's say opportunities that are at a certain percent. Let's say 80, I want to understand opportunities that are 80% and higher and live projects. What does my bench look like? Because you're basically including that soft booking of 20% in, let's say, a global picture, but it's a variable. You could play with the percent. So basically you could have different views of different, let's say, what if outcomes based on opportunities closing. So with that being said, I'm gonna go into my project over here and we'll start having some fun at the project level. So this is our project that I created. You'll see that these are all the tabs that I added from my role record level. What we could also see is basically we have our project over here. So let me take a step back over here and let's speak to the hierarchy that we allow for in mission control. We have a seven-layer project structure or seven-layer hierarchy that is allowed for. The highest level is portfolio management. Under portfolios, we have programs, and under a program, we have projects. So basically, there's like it's a one-to-many relationship where many projects can be related to a program, and many programs can be related to a portfolio. So those are the two levels above a project. Now, we have a project like you can see over here. And then under a project, we're able to have phases. Under a phase, we're able to have milestones. Under a milestone, we could have actions. And under an action, we could even have checklist items. You don't necessarily need to use every one of these layers, but they are there for you to use if you'd like to use them. What we could also see here is that we have a bunch of information, such as our schedule, the start date, like a duration, what are the skills, what are the teams that are essentially associated, that should be associated to this action, which we kind of leverage through a placeholder asset. There's a lot of information here. Basically, this is all very customizable and like be easy. And it's very, I say customizable. It's all done in the Salesforce platform. There's no coding. It's basically just changing fields, changing field names. It's a very, very flexible platform that really could speak to all your needs. And even in terms of, let's say, how are we able to build projects? If you go over here in terms of billing types, I have yet, as a salesperson working for this company, I have yet to hit a billing type that we don't cover, which is amazing. So basically, fixed fee plus fixed price plus expenses, T&M, controlled on milestones, deposit to T&M, which is essentially just deposit like chipping off a block, and retainers. Um, Now, in terms of, let's say, the project over here, this is a lot of information, but there's different ways to actually interact with this information. Some people like want to have like just a view like this where everything kind of is up in your face. Other people might prefer to have a timeline view. Let's say more on a Gantt chart, where you are able to get that timeline view that might make the most sense for your team. So going in from, let's say, looking at the same hierarchy that I showed you earlier, we have our project over here. Below our project, we have our phases. Below our phases, we have our milestones. Below the milestones, we have our actions. And below the actions, we can even have checklist items. Now, let's zoom in a little bit further, look at our project. What we see over here is what I've also done is I've toggled my baseline, so we have visibility on the baseline. We also could see that I have built some dependencies here. So you can literally just drag and drop or use like the PMP language within the predecessor chart. But what we can see here is, let's say this functional configuration, if it gets pushed out to the 29th, because of the critical path and the dependencies we built out, everything will get pushed out in accordance. You can see everything has moved. And again, these are all data points. Everything here can be reported on. So to your wildest fantasy, basically, you're able to kind of say build out reports, and when we also do carry a lot of this information within the project as well. Everything here could be exported, PNG, CSV, PDF. Okay, if you're looking to maintain version control, let's say, just kind of export images and keep them within your files. We also have the ability to, there's also like an ability, which is this is part of our April release. We could add constraints to a project. So let's say a certain action or milestone finish no later than, start no earlier than, or just slew of constraints. And basically, you'd be able to kind of add that level of integrity to a project. Along with the Gantt charts, we have, so let's say some individuals much prefer a Kanban board. This is where you do, this is basically where you look at the Kanban board at the project level, where we're able to see, let's say, the under what are the statuses, what are the actions under different statuses. You could just drag and drop as you need. What we can also do is look at who's working on what, better understanding, let's say, the priority of different actions. Great way to filter through and really get a feel of the pulse of a project from different angles. I've just showed you the Gantt chart. I've just showed you the whiteboard. These both exist at the project level and company level, and also portfolio and program level as well. So you do have these more global views with filters that can be applied to really slice and dice this information to really get what you need out of the project information. Um, something else we have, which I'm going to jump into another project because I want to show you, more developed risks. So we have risk log and issue log. So let's see the language here. Risks are things that can happen. Issues are things that are happening. We can see we have some risk information where we gather all the risk log. This is basically a risk log. Then if you want to go look into, let's say, the actual risks, you can see that basically we are able to qualify them and provide assessments to them as well. So this risk has an owner. This risk it could be assigned to a milestone or action. You could, let's say, provide the assessment and provide some countermeasures. Let's say worst case scenario, this risk, everything else fails, and basically you need to turn this risk into an issue. What you would do is hit this promote risk to issue button, and what that does is allows the risk to move from a risk log to an issue log. Um, Now, in terms of, let's say, the high level visibility, and everyone wants their own dashboards and custom reports. A cool report I saw was someone pulling in all your live issues with the project name next to it. So every issue that exists in your organization, the project name next to it, how long this issue has been alive, who's the issue owner, and also what our next step, which is like a free text field. A great way to kind of have that full visibility on your on like basically what the full on the pulse of the company. Now, going back into going back into the project that we created, that we could also manage expenses. You can have purchase orders and then log expenses to those purchase orders. Um, Great way to kind of do all there is a lot of financial reporting there. If you want to kind of see a single view to have see all of your actions, what's complete, what's incomplete, what's overdue. We have our action pad over here, which is a great way to kind of interact with the project. Along with we have budgeting, overview, detail, and then we also have insights. Let me go back to my previous project for the insights because there's little bit more information here. We have our insights, which is essentially just some out of the box reporting that we know a lot of people do appreciate. So it is native to our solution, where you do have visibility on, let's say, overdue actions, completed actions, checklist items, CPI index, SPI index, a burn down chart, risks, issues. And then also hours, and there's also there's other reporting that I kind of I have hidden here, but there's a slew of bits of information that could be helpful for you. Now, I have shown you a bunch of information here. Something else we have that is pretty helpful is how do we share this information outwardly? Which is why we have something called the status reports. This status report, it's a one click into the status report. You could be subscribed to this, can be generated as you need, and it's also highly editable. So you could share as much or as little information as you need with either customers, or you could use this as an internal piece of collateral. So we have our homepage over here. Could be fully white labeled, double branded with your customer's logo as well. You have visibility. So basically, you have health checks that could be floated up over here. What was accomplished last week? Overall observations. You have a rating legend on the right hand side, and then going a little bit further, you have full visibility into your project summary. Um, you could also inject Gantt charts into this. You can inject risks, issues. This could be basically a report that your team might have to make for it might take an hour or two each week per project. You could click a button and it's ready within minutes, and it's exactly the aesthetic, branding, and information that you need to share with your customers. So kind of it's really tightening that feedback loop with your customers and having amazing pieces of collateral, something we kind of love to help add to your offering. Along with this really cool PDF, we also have these client read-only pages specific to projects. So there's no license requirement here. Basically, you have these client read-only pages, which are basically led by a unique identifier. And you are able to identify which one of these tabs you want to live in this unique URL. So this unique URL, you could just share it. There's no license requirement, but it's basically read only, and it's just a client access to let's say a project. So let's say I only want to show Gantt chart, risks, and issues. So showing into the Gantt chart over here, this is the project, the more evolved project I had. You could view into different milestones, actions. You could view risks, and really kind of have like a real time image into a life cycle of a project. Again, this could all be white labeled as well. We also play nice with what's it called? Salesforce Experience Cloud, where you are able to surface any object you see. Anything I'm showing you today in terms of mission control. First of all, it's out of the box. There's nothing I'm showing you that's left field. That basically you have to create something. This you get everything I'm showing you when you download the solution. And everything I'm showing you today can be surfaced on Experience Cloud. So if you are looking to build out a customer portal by leveraging, let's say, core Salesforce information and mission control information, that would be a awesome solution that's usually highly appreciated from customers, and you kind of say it's a good look. Now, going back into our project over here, what we can see is we have placeholders who are assigned to these actions. Now, it might be the point in time where I'm like, hey, I want to put some named users onto these actions. How do we do that? I can just go in here and just kind of actually just drop an individual and basically just switch the action for the placeholder. It's basically just letting you know how easy it is. Although, might lack some of the information that you're looking for to be able to staff with the most reliable resource. Um, so one tool that could be really helpful here is the resource assignment wizard. So this resource assignment wizard allows me to view into my teams, my skills, add proficiencies within specific date ranges, and see who might be the best fit for this action. I just looked into my team of consultants, and I know that there's, let's say, 4 hours to staff with on the 17th. I could see Colin over here is working 40,000 hours a week. Funny enough, because Colin is our CEO and he actually does work 40,000 hours a week. But realistically, you have Alana and Bethany over here. You can see their schedules. I might want to give some time to Bethany because Alana has a little bit more. But what we could also do, so just drag and drop, what we could also do is add contributors. You are able to add as many contributors as you like to an action. It's basically adding multiple people to an individual action where you don't necessarily even need to give them hours, but you can. Let's say I want to give them an hour each, just share the love. We do this over here. Nope, no, not 10, 1. And you see I've taken those 2 hours away from the Bethany and basically spread them out and so fully automated. So this is a great way to add individuals, groups, teams to actions and really have visibility on who is the best fit for a role. Along with the let's say a little bit more of a manual process, we have our auto assignment wizard. Auto assignment wizard allows me to, let's say, automate uh, project assignments based on different weights. So like I could weight capacity, I could weight skills, I could weight teams, and basically I could give it different percentages that are more important to me. Once we have basically once you guys let's say have that logic, if you click auto assignment, I'm able to fully staff a project based on a percentage match fit. So this is a layer of automation that can be injected at different parts of the mission control experience and really can save your team a lot of time. Now that let's say, and also we also do have a resource request flow. So let's say if you think about a standard resource request where you want to have a backlog of requests, that exists as well, and we could definitely go through that path as well. Now, what I want to show you is basically, let's say we've staffed the project. Going one step above that, I want to go look at the schedules of my individuals that I've staffed. So we have this really cool tool called the scheduler. Think of it as a Gantt chart meets a resource planner where it can work in two capacities. You could use it in like a workshop functionality where you could like drag and drop, edit people's capacity and what they're working on. Or you could use it as high level overview, something like this, where I could see Anthony Arcade on a weekly view is working well above his 40 hours and definitely in the red, something I should be aware of. Maybe he might be burning out. These are indicators that would let me know I should maybe hire more developers or whatever, or maybe just move around some of his actions. Um, you could change the date range here. You could do it daily, weekly, monthly. You even do hourly as well. You are able to and even filter by different groups. Let's say if you just want to see developers, I just want to see people with certain skills. You could easily kind of, let's say, interact with this to better understand, let's say, hours total. If you want to get more detailed into the hours or on financial information, you have all of that here. But let's go into the actions. This is where it gets fun. This is where you'll see actions on people's calendars and you are able to really interact with them directly from here. So you can see Anthony, he has this one job that's really taking up a lot of his time. And let's say for some reason Anthony tells me, Julian, I'm not going to be here. I need to leave. You could just drag and drop this onto someone else's calendar, and then move things around as required, as you see fit. You're also able to create actions or holidays directly from here, and you do have visibility on people who are taking holidays, and let's say within this like time off over here. You could build out some color coding. You could really make this your own, and have a great way to have visibility on your projects, individuals, teams from a resource point of view. Um, Now, going a step above a project, something I like to quickly show you here is our programs. So let's say when you do want to have that visibility above a project, we have our program view. Let's go into this demo program I've already created where you can see there are a group of projects that I've assigned to this program. And there are some program level reporting that could be very important, like having visibility on full budget, requirements, overdue milestones, action summary, who are the resources working on this program, total hour summary. Great way to kind of, let's say, interact and really consume information at the program level. But then you'll also see we have Gantt charts and Kanban boards. So we do have these available globally. So let's say if you do want to have a global Kanban, a global Gantt chart, that's totally fine. But they are available at the program level as well. So let's say I want to see um, we have our program over here. Then under our program we have our projects. Under our projects we have our milestones. And something that's interesting because let's say you see these purple lines are the projects. What we're able to do is actually build dependencies between separate projects. So we have inter-project dependency. I know that isn't the hottest or sexiest of features, but it is something, it's a rarity in PS solutions. And happy to kind of say share it with those that it might help. Now going back to a project. Kind of this is kind of where I'm looking to really end up our conversation here. We have our webinar. Now that we have like high level visibility, let's say something that is important that we do like to speak to here is our how do we log time? You are able to log time from the Gantt chart, from the whiteboard, from the action pad, from our overview over here. So anywhere you see the little time clocks, this is you just click into it and you'll be able to log time directly at the action level. You are able to qualify your time log. You could force notes to a time log. You are able to add material costs, really qualify a time log as needed. You can for the notes, like internally, we force our notes. So every time you do log time, you have to give a little blurb on what you did. We also have a stopwatch functionality. Along with this, we also have a global action button that does follow you throughout the system. So wherever you are in Salesforce, forget about Mission Control. Wherever you are in Salesforce, you could always log time directly within the global action button. But as much as we love these cool and innovative ways to log time, something we've seen is that everyone just uses a timesheet. So we have our timesheet over here. All your scheduled hours are pushed into your timesheet. You could have, let's say, non-billable, billable, like imagine internal admin, travel. If you're looking to have, let's say, your 100% of your time logged, you are able to kind of build out those let's say evergreen projects that your team could leverage to kind of share what they're doing and when they're doing that. You can see over here I have some grayed out time, which is what I've been scheduled for. Let's say 0.73, double click into it. Let's say so we can force my notes, worked on XYZ, save it, and now basically it has now been added to my time to be submitted. We allow for approval processes. You could have very complex approval processes. They could be as simple as possible. And also we are able to push, let's say, time from here to a calendar. So by leveraging our calendar converter and existing bridges. Um, So in terms of mission control, that's really what I was hoping to get to today. As I mentioned earlier, there's a lot more to the solution. We could just focus on resourcing. We could just focus on time. We could just focus on project management. Everyone uses the system slightly differently. I think we do see similarities within certain verticals, certain industries on people how people use it best, which we do have insights and we're more than happy to share. But something I do wanted to quickly show over here is is our support area. So we do have fantastic support. So videos, so any video you can imagine, we've been created by our success team. We have a knowledge base with just under 700 knowledge base articles. We have a user guide. We have a quick start guide. If you want to create a support ticket and reach out to my success team, my emailing support@aprika.com. You will have a ticket created and someone will respond to you within 4 hours. And along with that, we have our training portal and anything you can imagine that could be helpful to kind of to getting up to speed, along with my actual success team. And my success team and my service team, we kind of, let's say, pride ourselves on our relationships we keep it maintained with our customers. So in terms of today's discussion, I'd like to wish everyone maybe a happy holiday. If you have any questions, thoughts, ideas, things that are important to you, things that you might want to jump further into together, please feel free to reach out my way. I am always around. Reach out on LinkedIn. You can reach out at any email you find on our website. I'm more than happy to kind of set up some time and learn a little bit more of how we could be helpful to you. So, with that being said, this is myself and Cosmo, our trusty mascot, wishing you happy holidays and a safe time over the holiday. So, have a good one, and we'll see you in the new year.